What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You are watching episode 5 of the Daytona truck build. Today we're going to be building a high steer double shear pitman arm. We went down to the exhaust shop and got a couple pieces of plate steel. We got 2 pieces, should do everything. Picked that up for 10 bucks. And then the pitman arm, already had this drop down pitman arm. And this is drilled out to 1 inch and then sleeved with a 1 inch 120 wall tubing, steel tubing. And then we have a 3/4 bolt. We have a let me take these out. So this is a 1.25 inch heim joint. It's Teflon, nylon, whatever inside, chromoly. And then you've got your, these are from Rough Stuff Specialties, by the way, if you're wondering where I picked those up. So big shout out to Rough Stuff Specialties. They've got all kinds of heim joints and stuff like that. So this is a 1.25 inch, and this is a 1 inch bolt hole. I'm actually filming this episode on my phone. I forgot to bring my camera over here, but I wanted to make some content for you guys. And then these are the misalignment spacers, and they step that down to a 3/4 hole. So then that's going to accept a 3/4 bolt and sit in there just like that, and that goes on each side. The mounting width, once both of those are on, is 2 5/8, just standard mount width. So pretty much we're going to be taking this pitman arm and reinforcing it with a piece of plate steel that comes all the way down. It's like an L shape, and then it welds to right here and welds all the way up through here, and we're going to be TIG welding that to the actual pitman arm. And then whenever we box in our little design that we get, so this mounts to the steering box just like that, and then this heim joint mounts to the bottom right there. So it's pretty much going to just box it in and give it 2 places to be a little bit stronger instead of all that weight just swinging on the bottom of that pitman arm. So this is highly recommended with oversized wheels and tires on a heim steering kit. And then, like I said, we've got the plate steel. So we are at Charles's house. Stepping over this lowering kit. But anyway, we are at Charles's house. So we're going to go on inside now and get started on this. I'll probably just throw like a couple little clips together, or I'm on my phone. Like I said, I don't really film on my phone. So I don't have, maybe it does. Yeah, I guess a phone does have time lapse. So I may do a time lapse. I really never use the camera on this phone. So I'm going to go on in here now, and we're going to set the pitman arm down on a piece of cardboard, and I'll kind of show you that and draw it out, and then kind of get an idea on what all we're going to cut it out. We don't have a laser cutter or a plasma table or anything like that, so we're going to have to cut it all out by hand, and then put both of the pieces together, put them in a bench vise, and smooth them down so they're perfectly symmetrical. But we'll show you all that, take you along with us. Like I said, this is going to be episode 5, building a high steer double shear pitman arm. Let's go. So we've got our cardboard right here, we've got our pitman arm, pretty much all those supplies that we're going to be using for today's little project. So I'm going to go ahead and get this pitman arm, lay it out right here, and draw that out, and I'll kind of show that to you whenever I get that done. So I went ahead and traced the pitman arm just exactly like this, and just followed tight along with it. It was more like right there, but you get the idea. And now we are going to, I'm going to go ahead and measure 2 5/8 from here and just roughly estimate a line, and then kind of just get something drawn up here, and I'll kind of show you what it's going to look like. So this is pretty much our mount width right there. I just went ahead and drew a long line. That's obviously not how long the steel is going to be, but just to get an idea on where we're going to kind of box this in and what we're going to be doing with the plate steel. So we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of thinking right here, and then we will show you what we come up with. So one for sure size piece of plate steel that's going to work and be pretty much right on is 5.5 by 8.5. So I just went over here and measured all of this out. So a couple of these cuts I'll be able to make with the chop saw. Other ones I may have to do with the angle grinder. But went ahead and got that marked off, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that out, and this will be our 5.5 by 8.5 sheet of plate steel for one side. We're going to need 2 of these, so I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 5.5 by 8.5 pieces, and then we'll be ready to start all like the boxing and figuring out all that. One of the pieces of metal cut out. And now Charles is just taking the flat disc on the grinder and smoothing it down. So I'll show you what this piece is here in just 1 second. So that's pretty much a plate that's gonna go right here. So like I said, we were just kind of fine tuning this little thing, the curvature of the pitman arm. And then, you know, there's gonna be a little bit of gap right here, and this is actually gonna be down just a little bit, and then that's gonna get a weld right through there. Charles is gonna TIG weld it. So like I said, you know, there's gonna be a weld down through here, so it doesn't have to be spot on, but we still want it all to be pretty much even. So probably just, we're gonna take away a little bit more right here and get it all about probably that gap, and then that piece is gonna be almost done. Then our next step is gonna be, we have to notch this out, like cut a square out in order for our mount width. So all this has to be gone because our heim comes in right through there, that way right there. So we're gonna have to notch this out, probably a good 2 or 3, maybe 4 inches. And we're gonna notch that out, and then there's gonna be pretty much a little prong that welds on both sides to the pitman arm and then comes down. Then we'll build another piece just like this. We're gonna put both pieces together, put them in the bench vise and get them both perfect, you know, to where both of them will be exactly the same. And then we'll weld those 2 pieces on with a flat plate on the bottom and get it all boxed up, and then weld all of it together. But we'll show you that as we go along. So we're gonna go ahead and get this piece. We're gonna get one side piece done, build the other, and then all we have to do is just build that bottom plate, and then we'll put our heim in there and tack it all up, and then pull the heim back out and weld it all together. And what I'm gonna go ahead and do with the flap disc on the angle grinder is we're gonna take away all these casting marks and get this to a smooth surface and a little bit more flat, because right now it's a little bit rounded. I don't know if you can see that, but we're just gonna flatten that down a lot. We don't want to take away too much material, so as soon as it gets flat enough to where it'll be weldable, we will stop that. We're gonna go ahead and do that on both sides. And once we get that flattened down, it's gonna look something like this. And like I said, that's just gonna allow that plate steel just to lay on it flatter and just really weld it top and bottom. And it's just gonna be a lot stronger like this with that being flat, instead of just flap discing all the powder coat or paint off of it and just laying it on there and welding it. It's gonna sit a lot more flat and flush. So we're gonna go ahead and knock this out on both sides, and then we will continue on working on that plate. So now we have 2 pieces cut out that are very, very similar. Like I said, we're doing this with a cutoff wheel and a flap disc, so we definitely don't have no laser cutter. So we've got this pretty much perfectly centered. So what I'm gonna do is just file down all of these at the same time, all 4 sides, until they're pretty much perfect. And then I'll cut this out after we get the actual shape correct. I'll mark that and cut that. So just giving you all a little update. This, let me loosen it up. We've got these pretty much done and all the same on all 4 edges. So now I can cut this piece out, and then we'll clean that up some, and we should be ready to weld these pieces on. And there's just going to be a plate going up the back and a plate going up the bottom, but we won't have those dimensions until we get it welded on. And then once we get it welded on, we'll fit a plate to that, and before we weld the bottom plate on, we'll have to drill a hole in the correct location, and then or we may drill the hole after, I'm not sure. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this finished up, and then we'll kind of show you what it's gonna look like after we get it tacked on. All right guys, so now we are over here. Charles has got the little quick clamps. We are just trying to get all of this stuff fitted up. The pitman arm needs to go up a little bit, or these plates need to go down. So then there will be adequate room. So this is just gonna get tilted a little bit. So we're gonna get all this jigged up and tacked on, and then we will show you what it looks like all tacked up before he welds it. We have got it all mocked up. So Charles is gonna go ahead and start welding. Gonna go ahead and get this baby tacked on. So Charles is tacking this on right quick, and then just to get better adhesion of the welds, after he gets this tacked on really good, then we're actually going to take a torch and heat up the pitman arm as hot as we can possibly get it. Like just the whole pitman arm, everywhere that we're going to be welding, we're going to heat it up, because the TIG welding and this plate steel versus that casted steel pitman arm, you're just supposed to preheat the pitman arm before you continue welding on, just so it bonds better and welds a little bit better. So Charles is TIG welding this right now, just tacking it on with the TIG welder. And then he's going to start running some passes with the welder, and it should look awesome. And then we just got to put the back plate to box it in and that bottom plate to box it in. So we just now got this bottom plate on, and Charles is going to go ahead and tack weld that. And then this is pretty much your double shear pitman arm, guys. So after we get all this stacked up, pretty self-explanatory, we're going to measure from there to here. Then we're going to put that plate on there and weld all that. This plate right here will be MIG welded on probably, just because it's quicker. We'll probably TIG it on the bottom to the pitman arm. But as far as this plate steel to plate steel welding, we're going to just do MIG welding because it's a little bit quicker. And the quicker you are, the more money you save, because time is money, boys. So we're going to go ahead and get all of this stuff jigged up, and Charles is going to get it welded. I will see you as soon as we get this welded. As soon as Charles gets this welded up, I'll show it to you, the finished product. So like I said, we're just going to cut one more piece of plate steel, MIG weld that on the back, TIG weld all of the pitman arm to plate steel connecting points, MIG weld everything else. And then like I said, Charles is using the torch right now, and he is going ahead. So Charles is using the torch right now to heat up the pitman arm. He's got it all jigged up nicely, and he's just going to pretty much preheat the pitman arm. Not sure if this is 100% necessary, but I think that it helps bond the pitman arm to the plate steel. So always, you know, like I say all the time, better to do it overkill than not good enough and something break. But either way, everything that we're doing isn't really compromising the state of the pitman arm. So this is just extra security pretty much. A double shear pitman arm is just the right way to do it. And I have actually drove with the Heim steering on 12 inches of lift with no double shear pitman arm for, I don't even know, probably 1,000 or more miles. And then I drove on 10 inches of lift and 7.5 inches of lift for a combined total of probably, I would say, 8,000 miles. I drove all the way to Myrtle Beach and back on 3.5 inches of lift with the Heim steering and no double shear pitman arm, and it was fine. So the double shear pitman arm, like I said, you know, I've got 26 by 16s, 3-inch spacers. This is just some extra security, just making it a little bit better. So first weld is looking freaking clean, boys. I can't wait to see this thing done. So as soon as he gets done welding everything up and I head out, I'll show you the pitman arm will be done. Then all we got to do is have it sandblasted and powder coated, or just clean it up and paint it gloss black. So I will see you all as soon as we get this baby done. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off on this video. Right here is our double shear pitman arm. So all TIG welded at all points where it contacts the pitman arm itself. And then we MIG welded just for speed all up around the back. Not quite sure if I want to go for the smooth finish, or if I want to leave these welds on here and powder coat over top of them, or paint over top of them. Haven't made up my mind yet. Still got to clean out inside of these channels with a little die grinder attachment. Just going to smooth all that out and even it all up, get it uniform on both. I need to take a little bit more material away right here, and then of course I've got to drill my bottom hole. But I'm going to drill my bottom hole, and then I'm going to mold this bottom piece around it, just to where it kind of matches the shape. So I just left a little bit of extra sheet metal right there. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. And this is the pitman arm after I got it painted. Looks really good, guys. It turned out awesome. I can't wait to see it on the truck. Humongous shout out to Charles. Thank you, brother. Charles killed it once again, welding everything. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome, brother.
So we are currently headed back to my house. We was welding this up at his house, and we're headed back to the house to cut off some traction bar brackets. As soon as we get those traction bar brackets cut off, it's time to mount that cradle. So stay tuned for episode 6. Signing off on episode 5. Episode 6, we're going to be mounting the cradle and pretty much getting the truck very, very close to being done. I'm going to shoot for probably like 10 episodes, and on the 10th episode, it'll be pretty much done, and it'll be like the reveal of the truck. And then I'll add all those videos to my playlist just like I've been doing. And anytime you want to send this to somebody, they can watch the Daytona truck build that I've done all in a row. And I may even put together, like at the end, like a little time lapse, like compilation, like montage of everything, you know, all the episodes combined, and kind of do a voiceover on that and talk during the whole video. But anyway, that's going to be all for today's video. Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions on heim joint steering, which I'll go over, we've done heim joint steering as well. We still have to build the heim joint track bar and drag link. We've got the tie rod bar, but it's at powder coat. So as soon as we get that done, that'll be in one of the episodes too, probably 6, 7, 8. I don't know what episode that'll be. But we'll go over that heim joint steering too, putting all that on. And then that should be pretty much everything. We got the front axle back from powder coat, and got the front axle back together, all the bushings, ball joints, all that stuff back in. We are going to be putting that underneath the truck as soon as I get my coilovers, which should be Friday. So day after tomorrow, probably do an episode going to Striker again, picking up the coilovers, and probably installing the coilovers in the buckets and the cradle. That'll probably be all the same video. We're gonna go ahead and hang those coilovers and just see what they look like. So that'll be a cool episode. All right, guys, so thanks for watching. Always remember, everybody starts out as nobody, and I will see you all in the next episode. Peace. There we go.